Thomas, how are you this morning?
I'm really well. Nice to see you, Fiona.
Thanks so much for your time this morning, Thomas, and thanks for tuning in this morning to our lovely storm. And I'm so delighted when you said you were happy to let us interview you. So thank you so much.
Absolute pleasure.
Do you like doing these sorts of things, Thomas? What with, your inside Claridge's, Corinthia, how do you find doing these?
Well, Fiona, I have to say you are bringing something very new to me. Like at the moment, I think every day is a little bit different. I can't really say that it's part of my daily routine to meet someone on Zoom and record a podcast, but hey, let's give it a go. I'm always up for things like this.
Oh, thank you, Thomas. So obviously now you're based at the gorgeous Corinthia London, and I mean I love that hotel, and I think you've got such a great team there. And every time I come along there, I just think it's fantastic. So how is your day at the moment? And how are you kind of linking up with your team and so on?
Well, the days right now, I think, are really, really alien to many of us, not just hoteliers, but hospitality people. I think right now we all realize what's really in our DNA, and that's been taken away from us. So my days are different in many, many ways. I mean, normally I get up at 6 and I do a little bit of gym at 7, and I'm in the hotel between sort of 8:15 and 8:30. So now I get up at 7, so I have an extra hour. So that's maybe a nice little luxury, but this going to the hotel is of course missing, and the physical contact with the building and being there and seeing people, that's not possible right now. We have a team in the hotel. We have security people and engineers and a housekeeper, etc., and a chef in the hotel. So I do go and look at the assets maybe 3 times a week and stay in touch with the team there. But my day now is what we're doing. I mean, it's technology that's really rising, and I think it's incredible how technology can still connect us and enable to stay in touch, and that's what we do. So my day is really full of these calls. So the communication part of the job and be engaging with people and sharing content and information, and also thinking about the future, what is actually happening when the hotel finally opens again, and what are our compelling offers to our customers, what will customers think and be like, all those conversations that we would normally have in the office and in a conference room, we now have on Zoom.
Fantastic. Thank you, Thomas. That gives us such a good insight. My goodness. I think the thing is, I don't know about you, but do you find it's taking up a lot of energy, isn't it? Our days are certainly not quieter or sort of less going on. So how do you make sure you put your energy into the right things, and what do you tend to put most of your energy into as far as the hotel and moving forward?
But you see, I think it depends a little bit on the role that you play in the organization. So in my role, of course, I am split into a number of directions. I, of course, have our head office and the person that I'm reporting to, Simon Naudi, our CEO. So there is a communication stream into this direction, because they are, of course, looking at the entire situation from a completely different angle than we do from London. And then there is, of course, our hotel team here in London. And Fiona, I think you're absolutely right. I think these days they can be exhausting. I mean, if you have a call scheduled every half an hour or depending on the topic, and you're looking at the screen and you're trying to sort of bring a certain energy across, so that as if we were in one room and you don't just sit there and nothing matters, then that is energy consuming. My focus is I'm used to sort of managing a busy diary. So a lot of people want something from you, and the day only has so many hours. So at the moment, of course, our sales, marketing, and communication teams get a lot of attention. Of course, the commercial teams like our finance colleagues and our revenue management colleagues, they get a lot of attention because those are, of course, the really hot and burning topics that we talk about right now. Opening dates, what's our communication like, what's the message, what will the rate structure be, how much, who has a crystal ball? If only anyone knew what business will be like when we finally reopen. So we're creating a number of scenarios just to be ready. However, at the same time, I'm also joining team meetings. So like our food and beverage colleagues or our HR colleagues, or, the spa team has a team call every Wednesday at 5 o'clock. And it's just so much fun because you have these sort of 50 people on the screen, and I'm very grateful that I'm allowed to join those calls and can stay in touch with the people like that.
We've worked together many, many years, haven't we? And I know you're really into creating great teams. And this is just a lovely example of how you're doing that, maintaining those team spirits and the energy, like you said. And I'm sure they enjoy having you with them as well. So that's good.
I hope so. I mean, our teams are just everything, like it's everybody. It's something that I say at induction. Really, there isn't anyone more important than anyone else in this team. We just do different roles, and we play a different role to achieve the one big goal that we all want to achieve together in our hotels. And if that role is to be a waiter or a back of house steward or a housekeeper or a managing director, it really doesn't matter. Everybody has to contribute the very best they can. But yes, I am very grateful to have such a great team.
Thank you very much, Thomas. Well, as you know, my world is the learning and development world, which of course I love. And I was just wondering whether with our sort of learning and development head on, I feel like I'm learning much at the moment. Is there anything particular you've learned that you really don't want to let go of afterwards? So whether that be anything in particular about how you're working or what you're doing, anything in particular about you want to keep that going when things go back to what they're kind of in the new normal, isn't it?
You have adopted this term already, the new normal. Will you tell us what the new normal is?
Well, I think that's what we all need to find out eventually, isn't it? Definitely. So maybe we shouldn't start using that term. What is the new normal, like you say?
So with our human resources and with our learning and development teams, we also spend a lot of time right now. And, and I actually very much referred to you quite a lot in those conversations because, what I always enjoyed when we worked together is that it was very, very focused and that it was very sort of outcome driven in a way. What is it actually that we want to achieve and how do we get there? And that it isn't overly formulaic. That's the course, take it or not, and then hopefully it works, because it is a little bit different for everyone. So this time now, we have recently developed a few in-house courses, and I really, really enjoyed that because it was very, very business driven. And it was what our hotel needed at this moment in time. And with the learning and development team, we came up with these courses. But you're, of course, the ultimate professional and you do this all the time. Whereas when you do this in-house, of course, the first 2-3 times, little glitches and errors are normal, and when you then start delivering the course you discover these errors. So we're ironing those out right now, so we're using the opportunity to come back with like really better and more focused learning and development programs. And what I quite like about the time right now, whilst we don't have each other in the room, you do have a lot of focus on the person that you're with. You know, there is less distraction in a Zoom call or in a Teams meeting than there may be at the hotel. You know, at the hotel, I'm often late, never because it's my fault, but you know, but I'm often late. Often the phone goes. Often somebody pops their head in the door. Or can I just, can I just borrow you for one? You know, all of this, of course, doesn't happen. I mean, this is now you and me for the time that we have. And I think this sort of focus and actually giving people the time they need and the time they deserve. So if your learning and development manager comes to you and has half an hour in the diary, that's really her half an hour. And I think this appreciation I will try to carry into our new normal.
I think so true, Thomas, isn't it? So true, because then you get that quality time. Actually, you can cover a lot in that time, can't you? And then that's all that some people need. And like you say, without those interruptions, which because we love as hoteliers, don't we? But it also, we know, where did our day go, isn't it?
Yeah.
So, with that, sorry, say again, Thomas.
We love an interruption, as you say.
We do. I had a flashback to when I can imagine whenever we used to have meetings, it won't be a minute, we do this. But actually, like you say, it's the balance, isn't it? Yeah. So the other thing I was going to say to you was, and again, we don't really know, but how do you think the service will change? I suppose what I mean by that is, what do we think our guests are going to expect? I know obviously we've got to look at provisions of how we deliver our amazing service and what you do at the Corinthia London, but have you given any thought to how you think people are going to be? Because I think people will be really excited about being again, but I'm wondering how we think the service might be when we do reopen.
So Fiona, that is a fascinating question. And it's a little bit a difficult one to answer, because I actually think that the truth and what we will see will probably be a combination of sort of polar opposites. So, and what I mean by this is that nobody really knows what the consumer will do. However, we all have a lot of experience in the luxury world and with luxury consumers. So there are a few things that are non-debatable. So first of all, our customers are very, very smart. And I think what people will take away with longevity from this pandemic and this crisis that we've been to is that we have to treat our environment and our planet with a little bit more respect, and we have to be very aware of the real footprint that our life leaves. And I think people will figure this out. I think that's a sort of responsibility that somehow will stick with us when we come out of it. So that's one hand. On the other hand, we all forget very quickly. And we all move on very quickly. And that's also good, because we also don't want to stay in this sort of tragic and in this misery, or whatever you want to call it, forever. I mean, we do want to move on, and our view needs to be forward. So I think there is an element of forgetting as well, and life will go back to normal. I think that people will probably not do these very, very short breaks so much anymore. You know, there's, let's go to New York shopping 3 days. Let's see an opera in Rome. Let's do a long weekend at the Côte d'Azur. So maybe this will change a little bit. Maybe we will travel with a little bit more awareness. We will maybe take a holiday and we will go to a destination and we will discover this destination and we know it. And this is, I think, also how we will be socially. I think there will be a very new appreciation of being with people and being with our friends. I think what we probably all deep down miss the most is not so much the restaurant visit, but it's the social aspect of being with our friends, being with our family. So this will come. On the other hand, we have also all learned to be at home. And we have learned to be alone, and we have learned to to spend time with ourselves. There will be a desire for transparency, that's for sure. So now we're moving a little bit more into, our hotels and our restaurants and our kitchens have always been clean. It really isn't that we suddenly start cleaning our businesses. But what I think we will do is we will maybe start sharing a little bit more how we clean and why it is safe and what measures we have taken. I think the customer will want a lot of reassurance, especially in the beginning. I think there will be a little bit of apprehension. And the more open we can be to share our very good practices and maybe improve them, I think this will be appreciated. Social distancing is, of course, new. I mean, we didn't even use that term 6 weeks ago. So, and we're getting ready for all of this. And I think you see what I'm saying with when I say it's a bit of a polar opposite. I think there will be a little bit of awareness, apprehension, hesitation, and then there will also be a bit of like, I need my life back. We need to move on. We need to forget this.
That is so, so true, Thomas. Thank you. I just think I was listening to you and oh my goodness, that's right. It will be those two sides of it, won't it? And of course, we'll just have to keep an eye on how it comes along and make it work, like you said, and we will get back to it. And I do think you're right. I think we do have short memories, and before we know it, we'll be back into busy, busy times that we love, definitely. I know that one of the things that I wanted to ask you was about, you just mentioned about what we want after lockdown. But of course, you and I have the wonderful, wonderful Cocker Spaniels in our life. And I wondered whether, actually two things. First of all, I'd like you to tell me, before we meet the lovely Sammy, and I've had the pleasure of meeting Sammy, but before everybody gets to meet Sammy, a couple of things. First of all, I'd love to, with these stores, allow people to sort of tell us about a charity close to their hearts. And so if I could ask you, charity you'd like us to make sure we do support in this storm pod, that would be amazing.
Yeah, I think I would like to choose the Sepsis Trust UK. Sepsis is an illness that I hadn't really heard about much until December last year. And this is when my really wonderful colleague, Bettina, has very suddenly passed away. She had a cold and then she reacted with sepsis, and within 5 days, unfortunately, she left us. And she was an incredible woman, and it was just so sudden and so unnecessary, like everything that we're experiencing right now as well. But as a hotel, we have done a lot for the Sepsis Trust UK, and all our colleagues have done a lot of charitable work. So I would really very, very much appreciate if whoever wants to donate something, I would like to put this time towards the Sepsis Trust.
Thank you, Thomas. Now, obviously, she was amazing, and she found Sammy, didn't she? She was the one who found Sammy. Am I right in that?
Yeah, this is very true. I mean, like Sammy joined us when he was 8 weeks old in towards the end of November, and Sammy also works a little bit at the hotel. So he comes to the hotel with me. I mean, obviously he's not an accessory. He lives a very happy dog life, but I think he's much adored and admired there. And when he's around, he really brings joy. And Bettina was part of this project, yes, because when he's in the office, of course, she needed to look after him, and she found the breeder, and she found him. So you want to meet him?
Yes, please, Thomas. Let's meet lovely Sammy.
No. There he is. Sammy. Look, that's Fiona, you know her.
Hello, Sammy. Good to see you, Sammy. You're adorable.
What he enjoys most is to be around people. The more people, the better. So, yeah, he loves being in the hotel.
So, Thomas, final words from you and Sammy to our lovely hospitality industry, please. Anything last to say to them, please?
Um, I mean, I think we have to be very strong right now. In hindsight, these are the situations that make us better and stronger. The most difficult and the most unbearable situations, when you come out of them as people and as an industry, we will have grown, and there is something good in this as well. I think we will need to support the people who don't survive this. I mean, there will be businesses who will maybe simply not come out of this crisis, and I think let's just all look after each other.
Thomas, I can't say thank you enough. Thank you so, so much for sharing all of this with us. And I'd just like to say on behalf of us all here, thank you, Thomas. And we look forward to seeing you very, very soon. Thank you.
Thank you, Fiona. Thank you.